This is Pathfinder Adventures. Just got a vehicle from my brother for free last year. It's been sitting on my lot for just over a year, and it's got a lot of miles on it. It's been very ill maintained, as I would call it, as being a nationally certified mechanic. It's got about 208,000 miles on it, and I don't think it's ever had a timing belt done on it, which these have timing belts. It's the 3.3 liter V6. So he never changed the oil, he never did a lot of things. That's very ill maintained. So this is definitely a project vehicle, and once we get where we want to with it, we're going to adventure into Utah. And so here's the mileage on the vehicle. It's 208,463 miles. So this is what it sounds like. I took off a couple belts, but the good belt, the alternator belt, is what's still on it. So taking the belts off, the main drive belt. So first things first. Two on that. First things first. We're going to got an extra light up there to light up the whole engine compartment. Lasts about 2 hours on that bright setting. But I'm going to be taking out airbox, radiator, fan, shroud. Of course, draining the radiator as well into a safe container, and then I go recycle it. And then, of course, it's got some pretty icky looking hoses. Like I say, been very not well maintained. This one's expanded here. This one's just old. That one looks like it's been replaced, but I'm going to replace it anyway because I bought a replacement for it. This is the same vehicle when I first bought it that it took me 6 to 8 hours to pull the spark plugs out because they were all encrusted with carbon, and it was really hard to pull them all out. I had to take about an hour on each one. So, like I say, this has been very, very, very ill maintained. Just please, if you own a vehicle, do something every 50,000 miles on it. Whether it needs it or not, do it. Alright, now we've disconnected the battery. This one's got a quick disconnect on my negative terminal. I haven't pulled the radiator cap. Pulling the radiator cap. Radiator's plenty full in there, so I'll put this over on my parts shelf. And we've located the drain shock here, just right here. Let's see if I can get the light. Yeah, that one right there. And then I've got my container that I drain it into. I have two of these, one's for oil and one's for coolant. So, and you ask me, how do I know which one's which? Well, if I drain it and oil comes out, it's got oil in it. If it's, I don't try and mix them, but you can never tell. Anyway, I'm gonna get down here and we're gonna drain this. It's empty. I just put it in my, just to prove I actually recycle. There's my recycle container right there. I had a bunch of gear oil in it from this vehicle that I had done previous over the last year before investing in camera equipment. What I'm going to do is move this temporarily here. And so I get it to the point where I can pull it by hand and twist it by hand. Make sure that's up so it doesn't flood and bubble. And it should come out. Just want to get everywhere at first. That's the one thing my brother did do, though, is replace the radiator. So it's got a, this radiator's fairly new. Anyway, here it starts coming. And there we go. So that's, I'm getting 99% of it in there. So it should take a little bit to drain. My shop towels here. Shop towels because they're the most absorbent. I can reuse these things so they get completely soaked. Just that, so that if it clogs out, it'll splashes. That'll catch the splash. It won't go all over the floor like it has. And he's kept the coolant pretty fresh because there's been a slow leak on the upper rear side of the engine. I believe it's a hose that goes into the intake manifold. And he's just kept refilling it instead of trying to find the leak. Anyway, so I'll get back to you on when we take out the radiator. I think we're gonna do not gonna do head gaskets on this at all, just because we're gonna see if correcting the timing belt will actually correct the smoking problem. If not, then probably do a intake valve seals while the heads are still on the vehicle. Just twist it. Doesn't come off one way, it'll come off another. I put all new hose clamps and everything on that as well. So since that's all plugged in, this off here. So crusty. It's not taken care of at all. Little vacuum hose off. I did get a reusable filter. It's not a K&N like I would have liked, but this is a project truck, so we'll wait until it's worthy of a K&N. Of course, we need to take this one off here. Gumball machine. Alright. Grab some pliers. Really take that hose off of there. This one. Grab a screwdriver for a little cutting tool. Pry it off of it without breaking anything, especially my hands. Of course, we're going to take this clamp off here. Not really fond of these, but it's nice because they're reusable. And of course, I'll put this in the. So that's for the mass airflow sensor. And we'll put this aside, or it won't get kicked. And see the hose clamp that we lost there. Alright, so I've disconnected the lower radiator hose and the two automatic transmission lines that go into the radiator. I've got one of these nice little impacts. In my glory days as a mechanic. And then retaining, looks like that one's, the grommets actually supposed to be in there. Anyway, so it's basically ready to pull out. And other than this AC line, it shouldn't really get caught on anything. For some odd reason, the fan shrouds on these are cut out underneath, so you can just lift it out all at once. Careful when you're doing this, because you don't want to ruin. I mean, this is practically a new radiator, so it shouldn't be attached to anything. And there it is.